Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Highly Motivated, Highly Anticipated, Highly Excited, Incredibly Enthusiastic. So it's our Friday night, 8 o'clock, highly motivated chit chat smoke session. This evening's conversation is actually, we have a conversation, we have a topic. Now, whether I stay on topic or not, that's a totally different story. But this evening, I wanted to talk about recreational cannabis in the state of Florida. Now, I know everybody and their mother is talking about it. Everybody has an opinion about recreational cannabis here in the state of Florida. So, of course, I do as well. And mine is multifaceted. Mine is on the fence between both because I understand the need of going recreational. I understand the need of being able to offer this product to many people, but I'm also one for education. I'm also one for the progression of the plant and the furthering of the understanding of cannabis, not just getting high, but incorporating cannabis into your lifestyle to help with things like neuropathy, fibromyalgia, bone loss, bone degradation, deterioration, things like osteoporosis, arthritis. Cannabis is so many more things than just lifting our spirit, but it does so well at lifting our spirit that we need to consider that as part of our mental health. We need to consider what it does for us when we get high as a cure, not a cure, a temporary alleviation of our stress and our struggles through life. Life gives us PTSD. Life gives us stress and chaos. And when the stress consumes us, we project that energy. And that's what we get back even more so. So sometimes cannabis can take those blocks of stress right off your shoulders, let you breathe easier, let you feel easier. And tonight, that's what the whole show's about. We're just here to talk. We're just here to chit chat. We're just here to smoke one. And I'm really excited about this one. This comes from Goldflower cannabis here in the state of Florida. Just letting you know what I'm smoking. It's from the Heisman line. This is Cherry Rush. Cherry Rush sitting at 25.4% on the THC. Your terpenes are at one. My eyesight's terrible. 189, yeah. So 1.89, I think the terpenes, or 1.69. Wouldn't that be a number? So 1.69 or 1.89 of the terpene profile, but the aroma was delicious when I was rolling this up. So I opened it up, and the nugs looked huge. It was one giant nug. So just to show you what's left of it, that's what's left. So the rest of it I have rolled. Look how beautiful that is. So let's see if we can get that nice and close in the camera with the light on it. And you can see that's organic. That's hand trimmed. That's living soil. That's beautiful stuff right there. And wow. I mean, super delicious. So anyways, one nug it came as. There was like a little piece left over. So I went ahead and rolled pretty much a 2-gram doink on the vegetable paper, which I love the vegetable paper because, again, you don't taste the paper, you taste the cannabis. And tonight, since I'm going to light this up, and this is what helps, it takes some of the stress off your shoulders, creating more of an ease and assimilation of the things around you, instead of them being so abrupt and so hard and so difficult. So that's what the show is. It's highly motivated. We're here to motivate each other. It's Friday night. This is our Friday night smoke sesh. And tonight, we're talking about the legalization or the recreationalization. The recreationalization, that's not even a word. And we're going to go with that. So the going recreationally, going recreational cannabis here in Florida. We're going to talk about that tonight. We'll talk about the pros and cons. We're going to talk about the bill. We'll talk about what's not in it and what needs to be in it. So where I'm on the fence about recreational marijuana, see, I said it right. Where I'm on the fence is I want home grow. I want social equity licensing. I want low income minority licensing for cannabis. And in this law, only the people that are currently in the industry or in the business, the cannabis companies in Florida, will be the ones controlling the industry. Recreational cannabis is not exactly what you think it is. So tonight we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about some of the key players that are currently um, getting ready for recreational. Why are they getting ready? Because, of course, they're bound to make incredible amounts of money. And that's what this is all about. Going rec is not about serving the patients or serving the community. It's really for the very large MSOs, multi-state operators, multi-state cannabis operators. It's about money. And cannabis was never, I mean, it was about money. Go back in the days when people grew it and sold it. It was extra change, extra money, but it was never going to make you rich. Cannabis on its own was never going to make you super rich. Much like now, being in the industry, cannabis on its own is never going to make you rich. You do it because you want to do it. You do it because you want to help. I mean, it's still a job and it's still a living. I mean, cannabis has raised all my children, has paid all my bills. So that's, to me, that's exciting. That's showing something in cannabis in its long-term acceptance, in its long-term understanding that it's supported a family, that it's paid bills, that cannabis has put food on the table. Would I have ever thought that I would have made a living from cannabis? No. I don't think I would have ever. I don't think I would have ever. You know, I just never foreshadowed like that. So tonight I come to you inside of the oversized closet with a black sheet on the wall. Um, and this is my private smoke room where I can toki. Look at this, 7 minutes in and I still haven't lit up the joint. All right, here we go. Again tonight, cherry rush. So very excited about this one. It's one of the new strains. I also picked up sweet tea from Gold Flower. They had done a huge flower release today. I got the Mount Hood Magic. I got the Cherry Rush. I got the sweet tea. Oh, I couldn't get the runts. I couldn't get some of the other stuff because my the rec, which is what allows me to buy flower here in Florida, wouldn't allow it. I was over my limit, but I still had plenty of flower available, but it didn't matter. It's when the state allows it to you. It's when it dispenses, and whatever you're allowed to buy, usually you try to purchase that amount. So here in Florida, there's a lot of rules and regulations to medical cannabis. So with that, people will ask me, then why don't you want it to go rec, Oren? It's not that I don't want it to go recreational. Please understand me. Oh, wow. I just have to take a moment. It may only be 1.69 or 1.89 of the terpene profile. The aroma of this is amazing. I mean, the second that came out of the bag, it was so delicious. So delicious, I couldn't wait to smoke it. I'm breaking it up with my fingers and rolling this big hootie hooter. And wow, just wow. I'm like, I was salivating. Smoking it, it does not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. This is so delectable. Wow, smooth. When you take big hits like that, you should cough. If it's not cured right or dried right, but this is cured well, very well. This is dried. I mean, I want to say the cure and the dry are almost perfect. That's a big statement. That's actually a really huge statement. But I will attest to that because this is so incredibly delicious. So again, welcome to Highly Motivated. Tonight we're smoking some Cherry Rush. I do want to let you know what I've got to try in a little while. I want to show you how I got it from Gold Flower. Coolest thing in the world. I know I promote them a lot because it's good weed. You can't fault me for loving my cannabis. And when you love something, you really promote it. You want other people to know about it. You want them to be able to smoke the best. This is the best. I wouldn't put my name next to it if I didn't think the company and the cannabis together came together in this perfect trifecta. Where's the trifecta? You're the trifecta. It's you, the customer, the company, and the product. All of that coming together makes a perfect cannabis trifecta. That's community. Wow, that's strong. Sitting at 25% THC, about 1.8 on the terpy worpies. I love it. Tonight, we're also going to be trying. I'm also pretty excited about this. I brought the Puffco Proxy out, and tonight we're going to be trying jam. Okay, I'm like a little kid. Jam is wow. I can feel that really opening up my lungs. I can feel that the terps. They're stinky. They're gassy. Oh, wow. I mean, they are just skunky. I love it. This is delish. You want to give it a little try? Really just delicious. You're going to have to tell me what you think. So tonight we're also trying jam. Now, what is jam? Jam is a concentrate. Jam is a whipped, delicious, pure. Now, this is a rosin jam. So what jam normally is, oh, thank you so much. So what jam normally is going to be sauce. They'll call it different things. So I think jam can be called sauce. Jam can be called diamonds in terpy sauce. But this is different because a terpy sauce can be botanical terpenes added into your THCA diamonds or whatever you have as your concentrate. This is different. This is jam, rosin jam, or concentrate jam. So the product, and I have to get some specifics, but I believe it's been whipped and cured and run through such a beautiful process that any terpenes that have been added to it are not botanical. They're cannabis. So they come from the plant. They don't come from a tomato or an orange or cherries. They come from the plant. So I want to show you how I got it today. I went to the dispensary and I wanted to try the jam. So here's what they gave me. This is a cool pack. Isn't that the most awesome thing? No, look. You open up the cool pack, and inside was my jam sitting. Now, this was frozen when they gave it to me. This is the jam inside this. So I'm going to show it to you just one moment. This right here is a cool pack. So it's frozen, and it kept it cold, while I was driving today. Still awesome. I mean, that's bringing a lot of bouginess and style to my cannabis. So I want to show you the jam. I want to show you what it looks like. It is so crystal clear. It is so, wow. Let me see. I don't even know if you can see. I'm going to have to pick it up with something, load it in the bowl. Can you even see the jam? You can't even see it. There you go. No. It's like, okay, it's so pure. It's so gorgeous. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick it up with this dabby tool. And this dabby tool will be putting it into the Puffco Proxy. So let me just pick up some and I'll show it to you. Wow. Okay. Look at that. Can you see that? So that is jam. Do you see that consistency? How smooth, how beautiful. It was hard to see in the container. So this amount right there, I'm going to go ahead and put inside my Puffco Proxy. Now, the reason I love using the Proxy is that I do it at such a low temperature. When it comes to concentrates, a lot of people do what's called dabs. Dabs are high heat. High heat is going to burn all the beneficial cannabinoids right away. That means all your THC, all your CBD, your CBGs, your CBCs, your CBNs, your CBDs, your whatever cannabinoids that you have within that, you're going to burn them away. They're going to go bye-bye. Because you're going to do it at such a high heat. Cannabis starts to break down and decarboxylate around 250 degrees. And when you're doing a dab, you're doing it at such high temperature that you're really not giving your body a chance to assimilate all those beautiful cannabinoids. So I'm just going to put this in here. It's going to boom, 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 boom. Okay. We have some jam in the Puffco proxy. So Puffco does not support me in any way, shape, or form. They do not pay for anything that I do. Let me just rub a little bit of this, whatever's left on the thingy. I'm just going to rub on the joint so that as I'm smoking, I'll get a little taste of that jam really quickly. Oh, I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I cannot. I'm like, I feel silly. Let me make sure. Let me see if this is still lit. No. I don't want to cover it. There's no air in here. Oh, I can already taste it. Wow. That's going to be something else. So, anyways, we're talking about legalization. We're talking about why it's good, why it's bad. So, when I look at legalization, I recently they were talking about rescheduling cannabis, changing how it reads, federally. And one of my problems with that is I didn't want it rescheduled. I want it descheduled. That means they can't come after you for it. They can't chase you for you trying to heal yourself with a plant. And that's what cannabis is. We all have what's called an endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system brings our body to homeostasis. It helps us deal with the heat and the cold, like tolerance. So it gives us tolerances to infections and temperature variations. It helps the body build up immunities. That's part of your endocannabinoid system. You have the CB1 receptors, which are located around here. And then you have your CB2 receptors, which are located around here and down into the legs and groin. And then you have the still being researched CB3 receptor, which activates once the other two kind of come together in homeostasis. There's a lot of research out there, and we're not going to get overly technical this evening. We're just going to chit chat about it while I smoke this incredibly strong cherry rush. Wow. I feel it. I feel higher. Like I didn't get high before this on purpose. I mean, I did smoky from the vape a little bit, but that doesn't really count. That just kind of brings you to a level base. Mm. So what am I thinking about recreational? Why am I against it? I'm not against it. I'm under the mentalities that you have to pass it so that we can change it. But then when I found out we can't change that law, we have to introduce a whole new bill. So if we go and pass recreational this time around, then we are stuck with that until the next voting session comes up. And in that, we will need signatures all over again. In that, we're going to require new education, new understanding. In that, we have to reintroduce an entire bill with all the proper things. And once the bill is out there, it's going to be very difficult to reintroduce a new bill. Oh, that is strong. I put I rubbed some of the jam on the paper, and I can feel that's like smoking a joint and taking a dab almost. Wow, but incredibly flavorful. Wow, the smell. Now remember, the smell I'm smelling is not the paper because the paper is vegetable. Wow, that's a really beautiful natural smell on its own. When it's good cannabis, it tastes good and it smells good and it feels good. I mean, I know this is a big 2 gram doinky doinky joint, joint, whatever you want to call it, but it's fantastic. I really enjoy that. I just like people to know when there's good weed out there. I want people to know about it. So I guess this show is, I kind of do a little mini review, but I'm not. I'm just smoking with you, for you. You can laugh with me, at me. I don't really give a shit. Tonight, we're talking about just cannabis recreationally. We're talking about maybe cannabis as a superfood. So when we start talking recreational, we start forgetting the medical benefits of cannabis. To me, that's a con. The number one con when going recreational is that you forget about medical. But medical, you don't pay taxes. In recreational, your taxes could be 40 plus percent. That's huge. In medical, you pay $70 a year to the state of Florida, or 75. So you're saving an incredible amount of money, especially if you are purchasing on a regular basis. It's not just that. When you buy recreational, you're going to be buying from a pool of cannabis. So there's going to be a bunch of people growing, and basically everybody's selling to everybody. So in recreational, you're really not going to be buying that brand or that company. You're just like Cookies. Cookies is a reseller. Cookies is a white labeler. So they buy from everybody else and they put their name on it, and then they sell it in their stores. So here in Florida, that's what recreational is going to become. We're going to have all these large companies reselling and selling cannabis, white labeling it, buying it and reselling it and claiming it as their own. And that's going to be good and bad depending on quality that's out there. But I don't think the quality is going to be as high. I don't think the quality will be as high as it is right now in the medical standards where the cannabis is being tested for heavy metals. It's being tested for a full range of cannabinoids, and it is being grown more medically right now. So when we go more recreational, are we going to be growing our cannabis medically? And when you ask, well, how can you grow your cannabis medically? So Troy, the master grower at Goldflower here in Florida, he's growing strains high in THCV. He's also growing strains high in CBG. And so the availability of CBG, CBGAs, THCVs are going to be much higher. Plus, he's going backwards in the lineage line to find the landrace strain of the Durban poison so that he can reintroduce some of the original medication, Durban poison being high in THCV, the extended hydrocarbon. So it's not just THC, it's THCV. It's like Sean Connery. Sean Connery being THC is not good enough. I want to be THCV. Thank you very much. I keep letting it go out. I should have said. It's nice. So the closer we get to recreational, the further we get from furthering our research and understanding of medical. I'm not saying with medical you can't get high. Look at me. I get high. But I'm also using strains that are high. I did it again. This one's a sativa. Look, before I started the show, I've had back pain so bad right here from driving all day today and having my arm up on the steering wheel. It has pulled all the muscles in my back. And I was talking about I need to go to a chiropractor. I'm in so much pain. I could breathe. It was hurting. So with a few attempts this evening at cracking the back, this is the winner right now. I mean, hands down, I have not noticed my back pain since Sparky Warkies of this hooter. Wow. I am just delighted by this. So my pain while talking to you and smoking this has subsided. That's a big deal. I mean, that's huge. That quickly, 24 minutes. I lit up 7 minutes in. And so it took, 10 plus minutes for it to kind of kick in, but it's really made a huge difference. But it's also changed my mood. Look, before the show started, I was kind of down. I was tired. I was exhausted. I was mentally drained. And with all of these show topics that I have in front of me that I want to chit chat about, I couldn't pick one. But recreational is a big deal. Let's talk about it again. See, I went all the way around and I'm back to talking about it. So why is it not good? Home grow is a very important thing. Not that everybody can grow. And I want to explain what I mean by this. It's hard to grow. It's not a weed. I mean, they make you feel like it's a weed, like the government put that out there and said it's a weed. But cannabis is not a weed. It's a superfood. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. But in that, when you're growing cannabis, so if they gave home grow an opportunity here in the state of Florida, that would increase horticultural sales. It would increase growing supply sales, dirt sales. It would increase, people going to either the Home Depots or buying online. It would really help the local Florida economy as far as growing. And I'll tell you why. Because everybody's going to try. And out of the small percentage of people that actually try it, maybe a quarter of them will be able to grow. And the rest of them will be like, this is too difficult. It needs too many nutrients. It needs too much paying attention. It needs specific lights, and they're expensive, and this and that. Whoa, I'll just buy my weed. And that's what usually happens. But to give people the opportunity to grow means you're giving them freedom. You're giving people the freedom to make their choices, to control their medication, to learn about it. Growing cannabis isn't just about getting high. You're learning botany. You're learning botanical sciences. You're learning horticultural sciences. You are growing a plant that is not easy to grow. So it's not beginner level. And so you are giving your energy and your efforts towards this plant. You're learning new things and new energies and new efforts. And that's amazing when you can put your energy towards your healing, towards bettering yourself holistically, mentally, physically. I'm like nonstop letting this thing go out tonight. So tonight I'd be outside, but it's a stormy night. It's incredibly stormy out there. We've got some weather. I was going to sit outside. I was like, let's sit outside and bring the rain in. So I plugged in my lights and I heard, I'm like, oh, what is that? Everything was too wet. Maybe electricity and water do not mix. Take that as the lesson of the day. But the light no longer works. So I said, okay, we need to find a new location for this evening's show. And then as getting ready for this evening's show, it was like I stubbed my toe at every corner. I bumped into everything. Everything was breaking and not working and done. So it was just a lot of chaos. Like what I can hear right now, it sounds like World War II next to me. But in this room, everything is amplified. So I hear the entire house. But I don't know can you hear me as loud as I hear you? You've got to, right? You can? Okay. So that's why I'm locked away in this room, in this very now smoky room. It's becoming very smoky. I'm so excited because in a second we're going to try the Proxy. We're going to try the jam for the first time. I've never tried the jam, so I'm super pumped. So we're talking about recreational before I get too high and forget about what the hell I'm talking about. So there's no home grow in the measure, in the law that they're trying to pass, or the bill. So in the recreational bill for Florida, you can't do home grow. There are no new licenses, so only the people that are currently in the industry, which are fine because there are some good players out there that can hopefully still bring some incredible medication. I know of a few, two only really, that are going to be bringing the fire, or three, maybe four. And that would be the top four, like Gold Flower being number one, Jungle Boys being number two, Flowery being number three, Cookies being number three, number four. So Cookies and Flowery kind of like level for me. So it's Gold Flower, Jungle Boys, and then Flowery, Cookies. Those companies right there are going to bring some fire. No matter what, I know I know Goldflower is going to bring just organic goodness. I mean, I'm smoking them now, and I'm going to stay medical. So even though we go into a recreational market, I'm still going to keep my medical card, and I'm still going to continue paying my medical fees. Will I buy recreationally? Hmm. It's the same weed, but it's not. In the beginning, it will be. But the longer we get into recreational here in Florida, it won't be the same weed. It'll be you're buying from a conglomerate. So, like right now, if your lettuce has salmonella, just an example, right now, if your lettuce has salmonella, you can trace that all the way back to the grower and you know where it came from. When you're buying from a conglomerate, it's a little more difficult to be able to trace things back to the original grower because number A grower may sell this to B and B might sell it to C and then C might to D, depending on the prices that each one of them get and the little bit of profit that each one wants to turn. So with recreational, you get, from what I understand, you're capped at 30% THC for the flower. And you're capped at 60% THC for concentrates. That's going to be, so your concentrates won't be as good. They're not going to be as strong, not as pure. And I think that market will stay on the medical side once they realize medically you get better cannabis. And to me, it's not about THC. So 30% is more than fine. It's again about the aroma, about the terpenes, and about the profiles that shape you to where you're going. Because cannabis, all right, so when you look at sativa and indica, they're two different plants. Sativa is tall with short leaves or long leaves, uh, big fat leaves, and indica is short with little leaves and fat ones, but it's short. So one's really kind of more stocky, and the other one's more tall and stout, with a slightly different leaf structure, but being exactly the same at the same time. That is the actual difference between a sativa and an indica, not in the couch indica or sativa. I can smoke two indicas and it treats me like a sativa would traditionally treat me. Or I can smoke a sativa and it can knock me out like an indica. So it's not the name sativa and indica that differentiate the two plants. It's the actual plants that are different. Sativas and indicas are two different plants. Still cannabis, but two different plants. That's what makes them different. Not sativas are going to keep you up in the sky. Sativas are going to give you PTSD. Sativas will give you anxiety and energy and blah 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 blah. No, indicas can do it as well. There are two indicas that come together and become a sativa. One is Afghani and purple Thai. Purple Thai and Afghani, they come together and they make flow. Flow is one of the most flavorful, delicious, powerful sativas I have ever smoked in my life. Wow. It smokes and smells like some old school weed. It gets you high. Like you used to get high back in the day, giggly and shit, full of energy, want to talk everybody's ear off. That's some good weed. That's a sativa. But it came from two indicas. How? How could it do that? Because of the taste, the flavor, the aroma, the terpene. That's what shaped it and shaped me more sativa from two indicas. I know. Ah. So, anyways, yeah. Mm. The pros of recreational. My whole life, I've been fighting for cannabis to become recreational or decriminalized or legalized or understood by the masses that it's more than just getting high. It's lifting your soul because the day is hard. I have arthritis. I have fibromyalgia. I have neuropathy. I have bone splints in a If I were to sit down and start listing shit out, it's a lot of things, and maybe some things I have, and maybe some things I don't. Like maybe it's instead of neuropathy, it's all fibromyalgia, or I don't fucking know. I don't care anymore. It's too much to even think about. It's too much to put energy towards, so I don't. Instead, I use cannabis to level the playing field, to make me feel just a little bit better, so that I can, so I can breathe. So I can deal with the pressures and the stress of life. Yes, I could do it without cannabis, but I don't want to. I could do it without, and I can meditate and put my soul into it, and I could do that. It fucking takes too long. It takes so long to get your shit straight. So, my cheat code. Mm, it helps. I know I'm judged for it all the time. Everybody looks at me and says, "Oh, you're smoking weed. You're smoking a fucking cigarette. Oh, you're smoking weed. You're drinking a beer." It's no different, but it's totally different because it can be healthy. I eat it raw. Look, one of the things I even want to talk about tonight is your health in cannabis as a superfood. And I'm jumping topics. I'll go back to recreational. But as a superfood, when you eat cannabis raw, just the flower itself, and you put it in your mouth and you chew, 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 and you chew it and really get some of those beautiful oils and and nutrients and vitamins and vital things that hit your body. It's magnesium, manganese, omega-3, omega-6. Sometimes I think omega-6 or omega-3. It's one of the two that like you can have too much of. You're not getting too much of this way. You've got fiber. If you are needing fiber in your diet, cannabis can be an incredible additive to any program or anything that you're currently doing. Mm. I let it go out. Oh, wait. Let me just open that up. We're going to be relighting this because it's bloody delicious. I'm enjoying every moment of this joint. This joint, 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 joint. Thank you for joining me on our smoke session tonight. And we're talking about recreational, and we're talking about the superfood that cannabis is. Recreational. We need it, but not for the state of Florida. We need it nationally. But for just Florida, I think it's going to mess with our tourism. Not terribly, but I think recreational weed is tourist weed. Tourists are going to be coming down here buying weed. That's going to be the big deal. It's like when they go to Colorado to buy weed or they go to Vegas to buy weed. Now they're going to come to Florida to buy weed. That's going to be the big deal. I'm in Disney. I think it's going to ruin the family image that Florida has blossomed because of Disney. Not that Disney is so family, by the way. It's dark and secret and some other crazy shit happening with Disney. But that being said, Florida still has a family image because of that. By recreationalizing cannabis here in the state of Florida, you're taking away that family image. Colorado used to have a beautiful family image. I say that, not like, oh, they've lost their family image. No, it's like in the tourist brochures, in the places to visit, it was advertised to families, not not different demographics, but to families with children, like Colorado, like hike the mountains or see the streams or blah 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 blah. But now it's like come to Colorado and help create the fog in the Rockies, or I don't know. It's very cannabis themed in so many different ways. And it's been desensitized. Like when I went to Colorado, to Denver, not too long ago, I went to the dispensaries. I walked in and I was very excited. I was excited because I wanted to get educated from a market that has had so much more time medically and recreationally to get their shit together. They did not have their shit together in any way, shape, or form. Most of the companies were treating their employees terribly, not treating them like, oh, you terrible dogs. No, money wise, paying them shit, making them work insane hours without help, without. It's a real difficult thing when a company doesn't take care of its employees. Your bud tenders are the face of your product. They are the first face that many customers will see coming into your dispensary before they even know anything about your product. It's the energy and the passion or the lack of passion that this person has that can bring in the customers or push them away. So it should be the first people that the company really needs to take care of. They need to take care of their bud tenders so the bud tenders can take care of the patients and the customers, and really that's the first step in healing, is feeling accepted or feeling part of community. Cannabis in Colorado were not community to me. They were just about getting high. That's it. There was no healing. There was no talk about how cannabis can help me in any way, shape, or form. It was just about how high I can get and the highest THC products that they were selling. But that didn't sell to people. So I was brought down there originally to infuse education into a market, like to see if education would work in a market that was already overly saturated in recreational. Granted, they started medically in Colorado. They started medical, and then they made it recreational. They kept their medical, and they still have a place in every one of the stores, a small little kiosk area for medical. And the rest of the gigantic store is recreational, where you have hash and bubble hash, and you have infused joints and diamonds and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just, wow, so many products. But there was also a lot of variety. And if you know cannabis or you know what you're looking for, you could probably put some things together. Like Wana had some fantastic gummies that I had seen. I'm looking for the container. But oh my gosh, I talk about it and it popped out at me from out of nowhere. That is some freaky stuff right there. So it was a Wana 1 to 1 to 1. And it was a CBG, CBD, THC. Incredible product. I've never felt more balanced by a gummy ever, ever. And that was the Wana brand, 1 to 1 to 1. It was a CBG, CBD, THC, and this was a passion fruit pineapple. Probably, I don't remember the flavor. It wasn't bad, because if I remember that it was bad, I would have remembered that it was bad. But that gummy right there did more for me than anything else that I had while I was there. Actually, I had a drink, a THC drink. That was okay. It was okay. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, the most amazing thing I've ever drinking. I feel higher than I've ever felt before. No, that's not the case. And so when I went to Colorado, nobody had any education. There was no understanding of cannabis in any way other than how high it's going to get me. And in every social circle that I was in while I was out there, that's exactly the mentality. So I was brought out there to enhance a party atmosphere. I was out there to enhance the excitement and enthusiasm of the bud tenders in the stores, and do video content and social media, blah, blah, blah. And in all of that, they wanted, in their want, was to infuse education. Like, with education, can we sell more cannabis? With understanding, you will sell more. With a clear picture of what you're buying, you sell more. Bud tenders are not, when I was in Colorado, the bud tenders were not selling very well at all. They did not sell me on the different products other than, hey, you want to get a chocolate? Okay. It was just an upsell, not what I needed. Instead of what I needed, it was what they wanted to get rid of, or what they can add on to the bill to make it a better sale. And I don't know if they were, I don't think they weren't working on commission. The people that I was working with, their bud tenders were not working on commission. And you know, I just feel like that market needs education again. They may have started medicinal, but they're totally recreational, no matter how you look at it. So that's what I'm afraid of here in Florida. I mean, I'm not like afraid. I'm so scared. It's going to become recreational. No, I mean, if you come rec, it becomes rec, and I'm very happy because we can reach more people with understanding that we can turn them to medical. I mean, it's going to be recreational, great. But now here's another option. Let's go medical. Cheaper on the taxes because you're not going to be dealing with taxes. You're going to be getting a better quality cannabis that has been tested multiple times because that is the medical standard to have cannabis like that tested multiple times. So you can tell what you're smoking is what you're smoking, and it's going to be super fantastic. I just want to let you know this is Cherry Rush. I have enjoyed every part of this. It's been a nice, even smoke. The flavor has leveled itself out to really the skunkiness has kind of taken over. It's beautiful, aromatic. I this deep into it is very resinous, so it's gonna be hard for me to give you exact flavors now. And maybe I'm a little stuffed up because this room has gotten very cloudy. I've created my own hot box over here. So welcome to Highly Motivated. I am highly motivated this evening. Friday night, smoke sesh, chit chat about recreational, chit chat about cannabis being a superfood. Um, Normally, all I talk about is power and energy and creation and manifestation. So I wanted to give that a break tonight. And this evening, I have been intentionally trying to talk slower. I don't know if I've achieved that because in my head, I'm talking super slow. Like what you might hear would be, and we will be talking about. I don't know why. That's what it sounds like to me that I'm talking. But to me, I feel like I keep speeding up. I'm like, brrr. So I listened to some of my past podcasts, noticed I talk very fast. And to work on that, because there's a lot of information I want to get to you. And I have to pick one topic and talk about it. Recreational was the topic. I want to grow my own, not because of anything other than I love to cultivate. I love to eat it raw. I love to hunt the plants. I love so many different parts of cannabis, and I love the sugar leaves. And I can eat those raw as well, or I can put them in the cooking or extraction, or wow, there's so much. There's so much that I don't want to limit myself with what the medical market gives me. So that's why I want recreational. But medical, you're going to get so much more, I believe. You're going to get an education, an understanding of cannabis. So I buy more because I understand more. And customers that I've spoken to and I teach them about cannabis, they have a better understanding of what works for them. So instead of buying all these products that don't work for them, they now know what they need and know what they're looking for. And usually they purchase more. One of the things that I like to talk about, one sec, let me just. Mm, right before I took a drink, I could taste just a myriad of different flavors. Mm, wow. I think maybe my nose is a little stopped up tonight, but that is a great, great joint. I've been really enjoying this. But one of the things I talk about with customers are concentrates. Now, concentrates are traditionally a little more expensive than regular cannabis. I mean, regular weed, by the way, this is mule fuel. Mule fuel, everybody keeps telling me it's an indica. It gives me so much energy, gives me so much creative power. I love mule fuel. That's also from gold flower, obviously. Obviously. Like I even have to tell you where it comes from. But this one I'm still smoking. Mm. So what do I mean about being an educated consumer? Let me explain that a little better. I'll put this down. When you're an educated consumer, you're not just purchasing flour. Then you begin to purchase things like maybe like rosin. So when I vape, I don't vape distillates. Distillates are a singular THC with botanical terpenes that have been injected back into it. Botanical terpenes are anything like flavors that have been extracted from things like cherries or tomatoes or oranges or pineapples or whatever the hell that it is. And then those have been added. Like the pine may not even, where does the pine come? Does it come from the pine cone? No, it's like a chemical pine, blah, 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 that's been added in. So the pininess, and that's a distillate. I don't smoke distillates. Why? Because they make me cough and they hurt my chest and they don't get me high. With a distillate, I always feel like I'm chasing a high. So at first I'll take a few hits out of a distillate and I'll be like, woo, and then I feel a little bit high. I'm like, okay, this may not be so bad. But then it goes away very quickly. So then I have to take another hit and another hit and another hit. And then I'm always chasing that initial high. But with rosin, so take a good look at that. If you can see it, that right there is rosin. So that comes from a single press. They take the bud and they press it like a hydraulic press that's hot. Like, so it heated up, not very hot, but hot enough to loosen out the oils from the flour. So it presses the flour really, 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 really strong. So strong, I tell you, very strong. Presses out all the oils. And those oils are collected. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I know. Now, a distillate, if I do this with a distillate, it'll move. I don't see anything moving. Nothing. But with a distillate, you do it long enough, it's going to start moving. I mean, if I wanted to sit here long and just kind of be like, hey, let's see what happens. I don't feel like holding it there that long, but I am going to smoke it. Mm. I can't remember what it is. I think it's Chimera number 2 and Chimera number 2 and Chimera number 4 crossed. One's an indica, one's a sativa, and together they make an insane, beautiful hybrid. I believe that's what it is. Very strong, very lovely, quite a high. So, what I mean by learning about concentrates cost more. To buy the jam, and this is jam, gorgeous. We're about to try it in the Puffco Proxy any second now. I'm like building up my anticipation. I'm letting some of the smoke kind of waft through. I'm trying to clear my my palate so I can properly taste the roll-ups jam. The roll-ups is a hybrid leaning sativa, very fruity, very like there was a gum I used to chew that was multiple different colors, like a colored zebra looking gum, and it was delicious. That's kind of how the flower tasted a little bit. Um, and something, no. Yes, I haven't even pulled it out yet. Okay, I'm talking to myself. Who cares? Mm. So an educated consumer will start to buy things like concentrates. Concentrates are fantastic because they help you differently. See, I have to smoke a lot of flour in order to achieve what I need. Unless I need something immediate, like this. Like if I'm waking up in the middle of the night and my leg is electrically on fire and I don't know what to do, and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep, I can't think. The longer I'm awake, the worse it's going to be. So I'll light up a joint, a sativa usually, high in THCV, so something like a Durban Poison Cross. And with that, within moments, the leg pain will usually go away. And so then I can go right back to sleep. But people are like, but it's a sativa. It doesn't matter. It's what the solution is. I'm trying to find the solution to the problem. And the sativa is the solution. And that's what helps me go back to sleep. But smoking, it's not always what my body needs. Like sometimes I use the flower and I make a tea. But with concentrates, I can smoke so much less of it and it can last so much longer. In between, like with flower, I have to smoke again not too long after just to kind of keep the momentum of it going. But in the combination of using the vape, the rosin, and using things like the jam, the concentrate, then I can push my entourage longer. I can control how I'm feeling, and I can shape it to where it better works for my body. So, so for me, that's what I look for, and that's an educated consumer. And as an educated consumer, you're going to purchase differently. That means you're still going to buy flour. I buy flour, but I also buy concentrates. And when you buy concentrates, now you are looking at it a little differently. Now you're going to approach it and say, ah, I see. This is helping me more. Without any further ado, let's warm it up. Boom, boom. I hit the button twice. It buzzes. And trying to clear my palate. Sorry if the camera picks up a lot of voice or ASMR type things like chewing or clearing or breathing. Sometimes I've listened to some of the past podcasts and my breathing sounds very loud. Or I'm just high listening to it going, is that me breathing? Okay. I'm waiting for it to buzz. It just buzzed. I'm going to give it an extra second. Okay. And then I'm going to hit it again. Boom, boom. Now it's extending my session. So I don't have to worry about it for a moment. It's really burning. Sipping it. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Did not disappoint at all. Oh. So smooth. This is jam. And I have it on a really low heat. Wow. I want to say the THC on this has got to be like 70. This would be officially what's higher. This would be higher than what's allowed in a recreational market that's coming to Florida. It just went out. But I'm going to clear it out really quickly. Wow. That was incredible. Just going to see how much is left. Can I get a second session out of that? So when you do a dab, you're going to do that amount once. One hit is what you're going to take in. But instead, I use that for an entire. Oh, wow. That was strong. So instead, I'm going to use that. Oh, it really cleared up my lungs. I feel better. Well, I think that cleared me out a little bit as well. But the room is still like super crazy, crazy smoggy. I think with the bright lights, it's hard to see all the smoke, which I guess is good. It's like a hot, smoggy sauna. Smoky. Obviously, I'm high. Sometimes they say you need the cough to get off. But what the coughing does is it opens things up a little bit, your bronchial dilator, and it's rushing blood into the brain, which is also rushing whatever THC that's already absorbing and assimilating into the bloodstream. It's rushing that directly into the brain. So that's why it gives you a little bit more of a high feeling. So I think that's why people are like, oh, you cough and I feel higher. Well, no, I think it just sometimes it opens things up. And a good cough can clear out the lungs, can open up the palate. So in Qigong, you have to hit these areas in the morning to open up your bronchial dilators to loosen up any chest congestion. See what I'm doing? We're going to do a whole thing one day on like some Qigong. I'm probably butchering the name, but there's some beautiful stretching exercises and we're going to get all into that shit. I'm so excited. I've got a whole secondary series attached to this series. Highly motivated is still going to be highly motivated always, but might have a Sunday show on its own. And I'm developing something right now that I'm really excited about. It's going to be very community driven. Every show will be a smoke sesh, but it's going to be a community smoke sesh where we're going to places and we're going to be smoking with people. We're going to be changing minds and educating, almost like a cannabis 101 or a cannabis science fair or a traveling cannabis bazaar on Sundays. But I'm not going to give you too much information on that because it's still in development. That being said, I realize now after smoking that, I'm talking fast, like really fast. And I know I'm even more high than I was before because that fruit roll-ups or just the roll-ups has got me, wow, just opened up my brain in a beautiful way. Let's talk. So, talking about cannabis and recreational, I want to talk about it as a superfood as well. One thing I mention sometimes, and people laugh at me, but I say, look, Bruce Lee never smoked a joint, but he ate raw cannabis. So I eat raw cannabis, I juice it, like with a green juice, I'll add a couple of nugs. In that, you're getting so much more that your body actually requires. A lot of nutrient, like the omega-3s, the omega-6, the magnesium, the manganese, the fiber. We just don't get enough of that in our regular diet. So with the addition of raw cannabis, we're getting that extra jolt, that extra energy, that extra something. That's what we're getting. I get excited about cannabis because the healing, the future of it, the understanding of it, the cooking with it, the drinking it, the all these new things that have come out. When I was a kid, the cannabis I had, you peeled it off of a brick and or small little bricks that you would get, and you peel it off, and as you peel it off, seeds would go flying, and it'd be all stem and just little buds here and there. And a lot of it I really think was hemp. A lot of it I feel was it wasn't what we have cultivated now. Because now we've made shit look pretty. We've made it look good. We've added so much to it. We've fine-tuned the flavors and the smell and the cultivation of how beautiful you can actually make it. And that's in the cure, the dry, in the packaging of it. So recreational. I'm bouncing back and forth, and I will. Because next we'll talk about making some quick tea. Or why eating it raw can really help your body, but it helps your digestion. I'll say that really quickly. And it also helps when you're able to get it into your stomach, it starts to heal because you're dealing with things like CBGA. CBGA is the mother of all cannabinoids. It's the beginning. It's not THC yet or CBD yet or all the other 250 different cannabinoids present. There's more than that even. But again, everything works in combination. But the beginning, CBGA, when your body, so maybe when you're eating the plant, your body is putting the plant through what's called maybe you're doing like a live decarboxylation. So your body is decarboxylating that plant and processing it through the bloodstream, through your gastrointestinal systems. It gets into your stomach, and once it gets into your stomach, it starts coating the stomach and healing some of the abrasive things that we eat or medications that we take. You may have IBS or Crohn's. This chewing raw cannabis is a beginning to healing your stomach. Your stomach controls everything. I mean, everything. Your energy, your mood, your motivation, your whole sense of being is going to come from your stomach. So you've got to treat it well. You've got to treat it better. You've got to know what really pulls and pushes the body. Take care of those direct nerve centers. Mm. We're going to try this again really quickly because that was so delicious. So, recreational. There are certain players in the game that have put a lot of money into the bills to get passed. I mean, a lot of money. And they bought many locations, and they've been buying up many locations as we speak to get ready for recreational. Because in case it passes, this said company, not going unnamed, will then have an insane footprint for recreational marijuana. So they will gain billions. Billions. They will control the recreational market for the commercial tourist here coming to Florida. And in that alone, they will make incredible profits. Not even just incredible, astounding profits. So all the money that they have spent up to this point is chump change. It's nothing. They are throwing pennies at a well. And if it goes and it passes and it goes recreational, this said company will probably control the market. Now, there are other companies, and they're going to buy up so many other locations as well. You will see recreational cannabis popping up everywhere in Florida, much like it has in Colorado. And within that, and within the years of how they integrate that into the marketplace, medical will be given a small kiosk in the corner of the store, just like it's been done in Colorado. So I'm comparing that state to Florida because I do see that progression happening here. And people go to Colorado to get high. People go not just to get high on the mountain, but to get high because there's a lot of weed and it's very recreational. And it's allowed, just people smoke everywhere and anywhere all the time. And while I was there at the hotel, I was smoking up. I was on a live broadcast and I went outside because I couldn't smoke in my room, or I don't remember if I could smoke in my room, or maybe I could smoke in the room, but I wanted to smoke outside as well. Look at the snow. I don't get snow over here in Florida. And I went outside. There was a group of people, and I was like, "Well, shit, let's smoke." And we all smoked, and it's like it's not a big deal because it happens all the time. So there is a different sense of community, but it's all about getting high. Nobody talks about the medicinal benefit, or making tea, or eating it raw, or the better understanding of cannabis and its different cannabinoids and how they can help the body. But they don't talk about it there. So eventually, that's what happens in the Florida marketplace if recreational passes. It will pass eventually. But I think this market still needs medicinal. It still needs the understanding of cannabis can be used as medicine. Cannabis can be used as mental and physical healing, but it needs to be taught and understood. And more people need to get into the medical program. Now, I feel the other side, see, I told you I'm on the fence on both, because on the recreational side of it, I feel when people get into the recreational side of cannabis, they're going to want to go medical. They're going to want better weed. They're going to want to at a better price, less taxes. Maybe their buying is more controlled, so they subsidize it with recreational. There you go. So we still have medical. We still have recreational. So passing recreational, I feel it's going to open up medicinal. I feel it will open up more people into getting their medical license because they'll realize it's better tested, it's better controlled, it's better understood, it's better directed, and community driven than just getting high. And my getting high means I am pain tolerant. My getting high means my mood is better, my body feels better. I've come to more of a homeostasis. And I can deal with large crowds of people. I can deal with large workloads. I can deal with my body pains or my mood fluctuations because it's not there. None of it. I am at a level playing field. And I love it. I feel great about that. Can I do it without cannabis? Of course. Do I want to? No. I mean, I do sometimes. Sometimes I have to go without. Sometimes all day. Most days I have to go without because I'm working. But when I'm not working, immediately cannabis will be in the situation in the picture. Absolutely. Because, I'll feel better within moments. It's been a tough day. Well, jolly, jolly, jolly. I'm going to, smoky smokies. There's like something in this room, maybe jumping on me. I don't know. This is maybe not. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm really, really high. I could be. I just activated the Puffco, and again, the most fantastic of pipes. Easy to clean, easy to use. I just love this thing. Oh, it buzzed. That means it's ready. I feel so sophisticated. Actually, this is great. Even at the second time using it, it's still very terpy. Still incredibly flavorful. The roll-ups is such a big win in the jam. The jam is so much smoother than anything I've smoked concentrate-wise. Wow. And you notice I blow it out immediately. I'm not holding it in. There's no need. There's no need to hold it in. The longer you hold it in, the more availability that you're going to smoke, that you're going to cough, because it's kind of fighting back. The second you inhale it, immediately it's already assimilating into your lungs. So you don't have to hold it in. So again, that's it. Going to recreational, you don't get so much of the medicinal side of it anymore. You don't get the education. You get a different kind of community. You get a different kind of tourist. Am I saying not vote for it? No, vote for it. Perfectly fine. Today they restricted how much weed I was allowed to buy on the medical side. So if it was recreational, I would have bought what was allowed to me on the medical side, and then I'd go to the recreational side and buy a little bit more to subsidize the amount that I use. Or I would buy some, but then again, the taxes are very high. The price is very high. So I stay medical because there are price cuts and deals in the medical side. There are great strains that are specifically grown to help me medicinally. Now, on the recreational side, are they going to be growing strains to help people medicinally? No, they're going to be growing strains to help people get higher. I don't know why I looked up when I said that. I just noticed the ceiling. It probably does need to be painted. The things I think about while high. But I'm like right now, do I feel like I'm floating or high? No, I feel very concentrated. I feel a clarity. When I was smoking, I feel the roll-ups are really pushing everything into my head. So right now, the roll-ups combined with what I'd smoked a moment ago, which was the Cherry Rush, which I believe is also a sativa. The Cherry Rush got me pretty high. And then I started smoking the concentrate roll-ups jam. That really kind of changed the direction of it. And right now, I feel less high. I feel more with it, and not at the same time. My descriptions are shitty. No, I feel more there now. I feel less floaty, less lifted, and now more concentrated, more sharp. That's a good and bad thing. So if I keep smoking that really sharpness right there in that concentrated amount, because I've smoked enough, I don't need to smoke anymore. The more I smoke, the higher I'll get initially, but then that could lead to possibly a headache because of what I smoked a moment ago. So actually, I would probably do better smoking something that's a little more hybrid leaning indica right now, as far as the terpene profile is concerned, not the plant. Remember, we talked about it earlier. Sativa and indica are two different plants. They don't make you feel two different ways. It's the terps. The terps are what shape you two different ways. So when I refer to an indica, I'm just referring to something with a terpene profile that relaxes my mind and relaxes my muscle. And when I refer to a sativa, I'm just referring to something with a terpene profile that's uplifting, euphoric, concentrated. Well, many different things, actually. Sativas can just be so many different things on their own. Thank you again, everybody, for joining me tonight on this very lifted Friday night. Ooh, that's a little, Joe, that made me feel better right there. Whatever that was, it's like it opened up something in the back of my neck. Remember, I told you I was dealing with a lot of neck pain and back pain before I started today's show. Now, and some of it was really overwhelming and overbearing. But I feel so much better now. So probably whatever I feel being dealt with via the cannabis for now, I can kind of feel that pain adjustment and realize that I'll probably be dealing with it later. So after the show, I'll probably be laying down, not moving very fast, getting ready for another busy weekend. No events. I'm not doing any events this weekend. That's that's a new one for me. It's a weekend without events. That means it's going to be a weekend full of chores. A weekend of mowing the lawn and edging and gardening and picking up plants. A weekend full of fixing the sink. I'm just telling you because I'm reminding myself through this. Because I'll probably watch it later and be like, oh shit, that's right. I got to fix the sink. Great notes that I could take while talking to everybody here. And by the way, thank you for joining me from wherever you're joining me. This is Friday night, just a community of us getting together. And even if you don't smoke, it doesn't matter. You don't have to smoke. You don't have to use cannabis at all. It's not about cannabis. Highly motivated. It's about it's about the individual. It's about approaching the day with enthusiasm and energy. It's about approaching the day in control of what you want, in control of your intentions and what direction you're going. It's coming to this community and getting empowered to work towards that raise or promotion, to be empowered to buy a new home or new car, to be empowered to buy yourself new clothing and to look sharp or take care of yourself, to love yourself, to be empowered. Helps you to be in that manifestation mode and creation mode. That's highly motivated because then we are highly motivated to push out that motivation, that frequency, that vibe, that energy to everyone else. Remember, you got to love you. You got to take care of you before you could push that out. That's what highly motivated is. We are all standing in a puddle and we create the waves or the ripples. And so when you're happier inside and you're motivated, you're enthusiastic towards life, naturally, authentically, you exude that energy and it comes back to you. Even when times are tough for you, you still exude that energy. You still exude that positivity or that enthusiasm or that brighter side of the picture. Life's going to get better, but you have to keep pushing that out authentically. Yes, life is hard and life hits me hard in so many different ways. But getting on this show, I am so enthusiastic because and excited and happy because all of you, and the energy that I'm pushing out, the energy you're going to push out, the energy those people are going to push out. I feel that's what heals the world. Energy, frequency. And it takes one group, highly motivated group, to push out a different frequency and to push out a different energy. I think that right there is the entire thing. That's the start. That's what highly motivated is. It's the start to highly motivate everyone around us or enthusiastically push them or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to limit us by just a name or a word. But here it starts. We plan our week, we plan our month, our year, with intention. We don't plan it by writing it down all the time, but intentions. Our intentions are, this is what we want. This is where we're going. This is how we're getting there. Create your day, your week, your month. Manifest the energy that you want back. Will manifest it out. Manifest it out there so you get it back to you. That's what highly motivated is. It has nothing to do with getting high. Nothing at all. But I like to get high. And I miss not having smoke sessions. I miss not getting together with friends and family and coworkers and smoking a big doobie oobie and all of us laughing at each other and talking about how cannabis can heal and talking about great strains and the flavors and how they make us feel better. And it takes the bricks off of our shoulders and allows us to talk to each other and see each other and be authentic, not wear the mask that we wear nonstop. So that's getting high with friends. So that's why I do this. Highly motivated is our chance to get together. When time doesn't allow, when responsibilities don't allow, when we are cities apart, miles apart, that's what this is. This is highly motivated. It's just a friendship circle, a really, really big friendship circle. For those of you that listen to us on Podbean and Spotify, thank you. You'll be listening to me later, I imagine, once this goes that direction. But I'm honored to have all of you here from all your different networks. From Facebooky, from the YouTuber, from the Insta, the Chacher, Insta Chacha, Linky Winkies, LinkedIn, and Twitch, the Twitch or the Twitcher, whatever. I'm giving you all special names. Pancakes become Panakis, waffles become Wafalis. I'm just saying, everything has to have its own world that it lives in. But yeah, I'm honored to be able to even talk to you and educate in my little bits and pieces that I try to throw out there. I don't want to throw out too much. I could. I can get really in depth. But it's a lot to take, especially when you're sitting there getting high and you're just like, I just want to enjoy my weed. And you're right. I've had to learn to lay off a little bit. Go easy on the education. Go easy on what people can digest and assimilate. Because there is a lot. I mean, there's so much. I can talk about weed. Like, look, Henry Ford made a vehicle completely from cannabis sativa or from the hemp plant, which is what a lot of us were smoking early 30 years ago. 30 years ago, I was smoking hemp. We didn't know. It was male marijuana. So it was a very low THC, and you had to smoke a lot of it to get high. But back then, that's all we had. And we shared it, and we would talk shit about it. There was one weed, we used to call it Yokohama, because it tasted like Yokohama tires. It was disgusting. And it would give you a headache, but we didn't have anything else. And we're like, okay, we'll smoke it. That's what we got. It was terrible. It was terrible. I remember peeling it off, and like you're looking at almost like a sheet, and you're breaking it down, and it powders to nothing. I remember getting Colombian gold at a party from a buddy. He was calling us, so you want that Colombian gold? I'm like, yeah. I mean, are you going to bring it to the party? I'm going to bring it to the party. Okay. So we wait at this party all night long. We wait for this guy, and he doesn't show up. The party is going to like the wee early hours of the morning. Wee hours of the morning. And the wee hours of the morning. I don't even know what I'm saying. So in the wee hours of the morning, he shows up, and he shows up with this little manila envelope, this little yellow orange envelope, like this big, actually. Oh my gosh, like the size of this, but maybe a little bit smaller. And it had a clasp on it. And so I'm looking at this, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, yo, you don't know what I had to go through in order to get this for you. I'm like, oh, okay, come on, come to the kitchen. Everybody's waiting. Everybody's waiting. He gets to the kitchen. It's the entire theater group from high school and the other high school. They're all, and everybody's gathered around this round table. And he's like, all right, so sit down. So I take the head of the back of the table where there's a whole bunch of people sitting on the back. It's like a breakfast nook. So it was like a shelving unit behind me, but everybody used it as a seat. So you have all these people behind me, a couple people standing. I remember the big Swede was to my right, the big Swede, because he was this gigantic, tall, blonde guy, like like 8 foot tall, insanely tall. So we're all standing around, hunched over, waiting, and he brings it over, and he comes to the table, and he drops into the table, and everybody's like, "So let's open it. Let's do it. What is this? What? This is Colombian gold. Everybody come in." I don't know why everybody got fucking quiet, but everybody got fucking quiet. So they come in, and he opens it up, and he puts it onto the table, and everybody's like, huh? I mean, our weed looked like shit back then. It was brown. It wasn't even. Now we did have KB Kind Bud, and Kind Bud looked decently green and a little bit fluffy. It wasn't hydro, wasn't fluffy, wasn't some dro, but it was KB was pretty nice shit. But most of the shit I was able to buy was swag and shitty weed. So the Colombian Gold was such a big deal. And so swag just, seeded, it's brown and dark greens. So this was like a brown. It was brown and yellowy, and it was already ground down. It wasn't like a bud. It was ground down already, into a not a fine bud, but a, you know, good enough. And he puts it on the table, and everybody's like staring at this and looking at it. Like, he's like, hey, this is Colombian Gold. That's how the shit looks. It doesn't look good. It does great things. It doesn't look good. And it doesn't. If you go back to like a High Times, like expose or editorial of all the High Times winners back in 1970 something, weed looked like shit. Weed looked like a weed. It looked terrible. And then you do like a High Times best of the best of maybe last year of 2023 or 2022 or 2020. It's night and day. It's not even like it's the same plant anymore. But I remember, look, it gets me high now, and it used to get me really high then. And different strains now can really take me back. I don't think I build up necessarily a tolerance, because that changes with the terps and the flavors and things like that. I so that's what got me into talking about all that. Um, but that's cannabis, and that's what I miss, and that's what this show is. I think that's what I was talking about. This show is our opportunity just to hang out and talk about shit like that. Talk about rosin and how now I vape rosin. When I vape distillates, it makes it feel like I've got like water in my lungs or something that I can never breathe right. Rosin is just the flower. So what this is right here, the flower, because I don't even like to taste paper. I just like the flower. And this is mule fuel. I'm going to have to smoke that in a little while. I'm getting very excited about that as well. That cherry rush was nice. It really was a really enjoyable smoke. But then I smoked the roll-ups, and it changed my whole high. And so now I'm evening it back out to more of a hybrid, so I don't give myself a headache. I don't overrush my brain with too much. That right there, I believe, is the Chimera 2 and 4. But I have the roll-ups in a vape, in a rosin. But that I'm going to smoke on its own very gently, not right now. Um, but yeah, that's what cannabis is, and that's what the community of it is, and that's what the show is. It's nothing more, nothing less. We'll talk about things. We'll talk about my view and my stance on it. I'm on the fence. I'm right in the middle. I want recreational to pass, but I want it to be a better bill presented. But we're not going to get that better bill right now. So I'll take what we can get, and I'll take the bill that's being put out there. So vote 3 or vote yes on 3 so that we can have recreational, so that I can supplement my medicinal habit of cannabis with more recreational weed. But I'll use it, I'll juice it, I'll eat it, I'll use it in different ways because I'll have more availability at it. But my big thing is I want it to stay organic. I want it to stay clean and cultivated right. So I'm probably, even though it goes recreational, and if it does, and we'll talk about the possibility of it going recreational for just 1 second, but if it does go recreational, I'll probably still just buy medicinally, only because of the way it's tested. I know where the weed's coming from. And especially when I buy from Goldflower, it's a small batch, beautiful, beautifully cultivated. The guys there that are growing this, Troy and his whole crew, they love the weed. They love the product. It shows in every batch that they produce. Wow, it shows. I mean, beautiful talent. Those guys on fire. I mean, just on fire. So I love what they're doing. I mean, really beautiful stuff. Okay. All that being said, that's what the show is. We're now will recreational pass? I know if you've been with me this long and you want to know if recreational is going to pass here in the state of Florida. As the Oregonji, I will give you my opinion as to whether or not the bill is going to pass. So Governor Ron DeSantis has put a few stipulations into this bill passing. And if anybody's watching that can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Michael Minardi, the one of the best cannabis lawyers around. If you need cannabis representation, go talk to Michael Minardi. Good guy. He's going to be running, I believe, again eventually for an office, a state position, something, or a larger than state congressional. I've got to talk to him again. We had him on the podcast ages ago. Ages ago. I've got to definitely get him back on again. Excellent lawyer. His knowledge of cannabis law and what's, who's who, what's happening, and where it's happening. I just touched the jam. Oh, that smells so good. It's sticky. It's just so nice. And it smells. Oh, there's a beautiful aroma to the raw product that hasn't been, decarboxylated yet or hasn't been smoked yet. Really delicious. So, anyways, Michael Minardi, great lawyer. If you're ever looking for somebody that knows cannabis and you need representation, he's on fire. He knows what's happening. Good guy. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what I was talking about at all. Like, we're talking total brain fart. It'll come back. I mean, I know I was talking community cannabis and I was talking, but yes, I definitely hope you will. Oh, I was talking to somebody who just put a comment on InstaChacha, which they can't hear me, but I answered just now. Wow, this is really a fantastic actually, I like how I'm hybridizing this out and I'm evening out the high. So it's not too overwhelming. I'm not going to have that endorphin rush and end up getting a headache or a migraine. And noticing that that pressure buildup was happening from smoking the roll-ups, because that was a lot of sativa for me. Noticing that pressure buildup, I started smoking a very nice hybrid that started leveling things out for me a little bit so that it wasn't too overwhelming. That's why I changed up and I've been smoking different things to level back out. I do want to light up this other one over here, but I'm going to take a moment. Do I think recreational will pass? I've spoken to a lot of people that I know have a lot of influence and know the people, know the hows and who's and he's and they thems and whatevers, and know the efforts that have been put into recreational cannabis here in Florida. It's close. I mean, if the people show up, so this is a big deal. This is a swing election year, from what I understand, and I don't know what the fuck that means. I have no clue. Not a clue, and I don't care. I really don't care. I do care, and I don't care. But in that, it means more people, I believe, are showing up to vote this year than any other year, usually. But in that, I believe what's required are 60% of the voting public must show up to vote in order for, and it must pass by a 60% margin in order for the bill to pass. So there are very large roadblocks and hurdles. Even if it's not both of those and it's just one of those, that's a really large hurdle to pass in order to get recreational cannabis. 60% vote in order to get recreational cannabis. A lot of money's been put into it. A lot of people are going to be voting for this. I wish it luck. I do. I don't think it's going to pass this time. I'm not hexing it. I'm not putting anything negative towards it. Even Trump recently came out in favor of recreational cannabis here in the state of Florida. Recently, he came out and said, look, I agree with it going recreational, but my stipulation, I can't do it, Trump. My stipulation, I can't do Trump. I can't. I feel like an asshole when I do him. I mean, even though I agree with a lot of what he puts on the table, I don't like him as an individual, but I don't know him as an individual, so I really don't know. That's it. I'm not getting politics. I don't give a shit. I really don't fucking care. But in that, he said recently, I'm all for recreational cannabis in Florida. It has my approval. But there's a but. So what's the but? No public smoking. No public smoking. So you can't smoke any cannabis in public. All cannabis must be smoked in private. So that's going to open up consumption lounges. That's going to open up private cannabis speakeasies where you're allowed to smoke weed, but in public, you're not allowed to smoke it. But if you're in a restaurant or something that's specifically for cannabis, is that still public? If you're in a bar for it, or a speakeasy, or a consumption lounge, isn't that public? So no public consumption of cannabis. That's what Trump wants. So here's what I have to say about that. We are Americans. We don't listen to laws. We don't give a shit. And we will still smoke everywhere and anywhere we want to. I don't think they're going to have a task force that can enforce people not smoking in public. So Trump says, no more smoking. Smoking in public is banned. Europeans, here's the difference between Europeans and Americans. In Europe, if it says no smoking, nobody smokes. If it says no smoking allowed in this whole town, the whole damn town will go outside of city limits just to smoke. That's Europe. They listen to those type of things. In America, you put up no smoking and somebody will be smoking a cigarette right in front of that, or smoking a joint right in front of the sign that says no smoking. So, I mean, I see it all the time. There's no smoking in front of the propane tanks. No smoke, like you see these refillable or exchangeable propane stations, and I cross by this Circle K all the time, and there's somebody out there smoking a cigarette, leaning on the sign that says no smoking flammable. Holy shit! So, especially here in Florida, I don't think they're going to listen to Trumpy telling anybody that you can't smoke Yokies. Come on. A little silly, isn't that? I think so. But with Trump putting his signature or his push behind recreational cannabis at all, that is going to send a whole new demographic of voters possibly voting for recreational cannabis because Trump told them to. Trump told them to go vote for recreational cannabis, and people who would have not voted at all for recreational cannabis at all are now looking at voting for it to pass here in Florida. Now, because of that, I say it will pass. But if that doesn't have the traction that I think it's going to have, or if that doesn't have the the pull to that voter class that I feel that it will have. If it doesn't go that direction with that voter class, then no, it doesn't have the enough momentum. It does and it doesn't. I mean, you ask the average public that doesn't have a cannabis card, or you ask the average public that is not drenched in cannabis all the time, like working in the industry, somebody who doesn't have a card, somebody who possibly still buys their weed on the illegal marketplace, somebody who still, who knows it's medical but hasn't gotten a card because they have a gun, or they have a concealed handgun license, or because of their federal job or their CDL, commercial driver's license, because of a myriad of reasons, or the stigma still behind it, so many people haven't gone medical. Are those people waiting for recreational, thinking this way at least I can smoke weed and they're not going to know about it until they test me? Or, I can still have my gun and I don't have to have a medical card, so that way I can still buy more guns and carry more guns on me at more times. I don't know. It's they got off track. That's how it is. And I feel like I'm coming down right now. From all that I was just using a little while ago, I actually feel like I'm starting to drop and level things out just a little bit. So because of that, I'm going to light this one up early. Because of that, this is the mule fuel. And I did smoke some of the mule fuel earlier. Uh, it was good. I mean, it's really good. It's super stinky. Just like the Cherry Rush, super stinky. This one leans almost immediately. Like initially, it lifts and it's euphoric and it's light on the body and does great on the pain centers, especially with nerve pain and bone pain. The mule fuel does beautifully with. So it initially lifts you, and then by the time you're done smoking it, you already feel your body relaxing, like a really beautiful relaxing, a gorgeous wave, like a cape, like I'm James Brown, and I'm singing, and I do my and I kneel, and the cape comes over like Elvis, and just the cape comes over. That's what it feels like at the end of it. So, not even sure what I was talking about a little while ago, but it doesn't really matter. We're talking about recreational. Do I think it's going to pass? So it'll pass if it gets the momentum from Trump supporters. But if it doesn't get that momentum, then I just don't think it has enough swing, which is fine because they'll pass it in like 2-3 years. They'll pass it on the next go around. If they don't pass it now, they'll pass it later. That's a prediction. That's how I'm looking at it. Mm. Oh, oh, it's kind of like when smoke goes down the wrong tube, or you're getting it too hot. It's like I could feel it burning my nose, which actually wasn't such a terrible thing. It kind of cleared me up a little bit. It is smoky in here. I'm gonna have to open a window in a second, turn the fan on when I'm done with the podcast today, and just kind of air everything out. And whoever's watching tonight, Friday night, thank you for joining me. Thank you for bringing your energy. If you're commenting from places that I don't see it right now, and I have to see it later, then I look forward to answering any comments anywhere in the many different places being streamed that I don't see right now. Hmm. This one's giving me a bit of a problem. A bit of a problem getting it. So we're just going to give it a bit more flame. No, it's going to be fine. Okay. Here's the thing. Before I get too blah 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 in the head here. Oh, maybe that's what I really needed. Maybe that's the terpene that my body was looking for. I can already tell. A little better. I think I needed this one. Okay, so you look at recreational, and I do want to mention that it will bring more jobs. I do want to mention that for every dollar spent, you're getting back like $3 to $4 in the economy. That's huge. That's monumental. That fixes roads and pays for schools. That right there, used properly, can be reinvested into the medical programs and the cancer research. You can use all the new taxes, all the new revenue, all of the new jobs and grand momentum to improve Florida. So that's a big deal. For example, let's look at what I'm talking about here. Oh no, that's something else. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's go there. Something. All these places that I thought I had my information disappeared. I don't need it. I don't care. I know that it increases jobs. I know that it helps the economy. And so voting no to help the economy is kind of a double negative. I mean, any way that we can help the Florida economy, it helps our pocketbooks as well. It helps the bottom line where you live here in Florida, if you live here. Oh, this is nice. This is mule fuel. And again, it's a everybody keeps telling me it's a hybrid leaning indica. I don't feel that. I feel it's initially a hair sativa, and it kind of clears and gets the mind clear. And actually, I was feeling a buildup right here on the back of my neck. I was feeling a buildup of pain and a buildup of pressure. Since smoking this, a little easier, a little easier. So that's where cannabis can help. Just smoking it, just getting high, you're relaxing your muscles, you're relaxing your attitude, you're relaxing maybe I'm talking a little slower. Maybe I'm being a little more conscious about the words that I'm using. I'm intentionally doing that. And probably how you're hearing it, it's like, but the way I hear it, I'm talking slow. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on being more clear in my speaking and not mumble bumble over everything, or maybe still mumble bumble over everything, but do it slower so that you can understand more of the mumbling bumbling than I do. I feel like Dr. Seuss. These papers let it go out, but that's great because it saves your weed. It saves your weed. I have nothing but great things to say about these vegetable papers, but I would like to see them thinner, and I want to see them more golden in color. Only because, oh, I should show you the find that I found the other day. I don't even know if I talked about it. I haven't, because I just found them. I found some super cool shoes. They're Vans. They're black and gold, and they're Harry Potter. So they have these golden wings on the side of them, and a little golden ball. The I don't know what it's called. The little thing. The I'm terrible. I am. But whatever, the thing they chase on the broom and everything like that. So representation of that ball's in the front of the shoe, unused. That's the best resale shop find that I have found all week. Super excited. So I'll definitely have to show those off at some point. Really great shoes. Very excited about those. I'm into shoes. I've been finding all these different shoes lately. Sometimes you get lucky with shoes. Sometimes it's pants. Sometimes it's shirts. You got to look for where that energy is, and don't waste your time on the items that aren't jumping or that aren't working that day. There's a whole mentality behind it. This mule fuel is just as smooth as the cherry rush, but this is more terpy. Like I can taste this at the back of my throat with a myriad of flavors, with a full palette of lemons and pines. To me, it almost feels like herbs, like a tarragon and a thyme. Mm. I don't know. That is so fantastic. The mule fuel's got so much going on there. Citrusy, maybe peppery. It opens up at the back of your palate. Not pine. May I, I almost feel like it's citrus, but like a tangerine, but deep, like a deep, deep, deep tangerine. I don't know, whatever. Um, mm, maybe it is more relaxing. Maybe it is more hybrid. I feel it's taking away great amounts of pain. So it's acting like a sativa where it takes away the nerve pain and the bone pain, but it also relaxes at the same time. It evens me out. The power of cannabis is understanding what these flavors can do for you, is understanding how they can shape your entourage or your pain reduction or your mood balancing. It's understanding how they work for you. And that makes me a better consumer and it makes me purchase more. That goes back to what I was talking about earlier, which I'm probably just repeating myself. Um, that is really nice. So we're just chit chatting tonight, Friday night. We're almost 2 hours in. Holy shit! I'm gonna have to end it. 2 hours is my cutoff. That's like when I see 2 hours. It's thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of this fantastic community energy. I appreciate all of you for showing up, for being here, and just sharing. We're not sharing and just staring at a screen and blowing smoke or not blowing smoke and just maybe drooling out of the corner of your mouth. I don't know. I'm just throwing it all out there, all the different possibilities. Maybe you took like a bunch of edibles. You're like, okay, I'm just going to watch them after all these edibles. Okay. I I want to send out the grandest of energies to all of you. I am an energy vampire. And when I am in a group, if I show up into this group with no energy, within moments, I'll feel reinvigorated by the crowd, by the people. I'll kind of soak up the positivity and enthusiasm out there, and I'll garner it as my own. I'll use it as my own, and I'll direct it. Kind of like out in the desert where you have all these panels directing all the sunlight into one place. That's me. That's me soaking it in. And I'm using that, and I'm getting and that's why I love crowds, and I love talking to crowds and being in front of crowds because I take in that energy. Mm. I also usually smoke a sativa before getting into that kind of situation, so that a nice sativa, not something that makes me too racy, but maybe something like the mule fuel, where it removes the stress and the pressure and the pain and relaxes me, where I can calmly talk to large audiences while still soaking in that energy. So I am pushing out now some of my energy from my puddle that I'm standing in. I'm sending out positive ripples that will turn into enormous waves. Remember how waves and frequencies work. So it may start small, but it will end up into this enormous wave that, as it affects you and it goes through you and it affects others because you're amplifying it, you're pushing it out. All of our frequencies are like channels on a radio station. That's how many different frequencies we're all pushing out, how many different realities that are happening all around us. It's all like tuning in a dial. We'll get into craziness like that another time. I don't want to get so deep. But you are the creationist. You are the creator. You are the manifester. Mm. No, I was going to say something else. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. Anyways, um, I can't now. Fuck, I can't. I'm like stupid. You're the manifester, manifesting things. Don't forget me and my dirty mind. I'm just, I don't know why that it just, you're the person creating power and energy, and you decide how it's pushed out. You decide where it goes and how it goes there, with intention. If you're okay, so if you're feeling down about life, and if you're feeling down about who you are and where you are and what's going on in your world, well, that's coming back to you because you're pushing that out there. If you change the energy, and I know it's hard, it's easier said than done, but sometimes you have to let shit go. I know it's not that easy, but sometimes it is. You're temporarily letting it go. You're not letting it go forever. You're letting it go temporarily so that you can breathe a little bit and see things clearly. And then you're reassimilating some of that stuff and holding on tight once again to the emotions, to the feelings, to the issues, and to the problems, and to what is surrounding our world all the time. But sometimes you've got to let go just a little bit so that you can see the world a little more clearly, and so that you can change your energy that's being pushed out. This is highly motivated. It's about motivating everyone, not just you, but you motivating them, and they motivate others. Because when you change the energy in a room, it changes it for the whole day. It changes it sometimes for people's whole life. Their whole life changes in that one moment of goodness and kindness, or positivity, or great energy that can change somebody's entire world for the good. I know moments like that have changed my life because of energy that was brought into a situation. Mm. I talk about it. One of the routes that I was on a couple weeks ago, one of the medical assistants, I walked into the office and she was sour. Just walked in and I was like, "Hey, I'm Orange." Like, "Who are you? What do you want?" I was like, "Oh." I wasn't even able to get "Hey, I'm Oren" out of my mouth. "Who are you? What do you want? What do you need?" Wow, wow, wow. What do I do? What do I do? Breathe it in, or breathe it in, and what do you do? Oh, yes, here we go. "Hey, how you doing?" And this is where I started. This is how I did it. And just like that, I shook out like a cheetah or an animal that was hiding inside of me. They're like, "Hey, I'm Oren. I'm with blah, 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 and I'm doing da, 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 and here's what we got, and here's what's happening." And this person's looking like, "Yeah, and what? What?" I'm like, "What? What?" So much excitement, so many great things happening. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm so excited to be a part of this community out here. And I really thank you for the hard work that you do, because it's hard. And I tell them, I thank them because it's true. It's hard work that they're doing. They're dealing with so many different patients, so many different attitudes and emotions. So I thank them because maybe people aren't thanking them enough. And we need to be able to thank those people that are working at the front line. Those medical assistants are putting their energy and their effort and their time, and they're not making a fortune. They do this because they love weed. So they're also cannabis users, cannabis smokers, uh, edibles, and whatever, cannabis users and partakers. But they also do this because they want to see healing. They want to see happiness in people, and they want to see better. And so they work these jobs. They work wherever they can within the cannabis industry. And that's all cannabis people. We take jobs sometimes wherever we can, just to be a part of the magic of it, or the change. And maybe to direct new educational standards, maybe to put in new ideas and teachings, so bud tenders learn about terpenes, not just saying, "Hey, it's sativa or indica," but instead they start learning about how it shapes and how we can find the solution and sell the solution, not necessarily the brand. Mm. So I do like to describe how I feel sometimes, how I feel very floaty right now. Like I'm on a cloud. Like I just got on top of a flipping cloud and it just took off. That's how I feel. Wow, mule fuel. I'm like, wow, mule fuel. Um, great stuff. And that's some of the things you learn when you're like in the community of cannabis and you're hanging out in one of these smoke sessions. You learn about great strains and how they can work for you. Some people need to feel airy and lifty. They need to feel light on their feet because their feet are heavy. Their legs are heavy. Their bodies feel heavy after a full day of work. An indica will make you feel heavy with your muscles. Some indicas, because of the flavors and where they shape, can make you feel heavy. And in that false heaviness, it creates anxiety. It creates anxiety because you're looking for healing and lightness of the body, but instead you're getting heaviness and you're getting a false tiredness, which it's falsely making you feel as though you're tired because of how heavy it puts you down. But if your mind is still awake and it needs if your mind needs to be brought to like a level place, but it needs to gently be brought there. An indica sometimes can it tries to crash it too quickly, and that can be damaging. That's why I push sativas or hybrid leaning sativas, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're crazy." But when you learn about hybrid leaning sativas and how they can help you, so right now I'm telling you about the feelings and what I'm getting, and I haven't made it very far through this, but it's really nice. It's hitting well when it stays lit, um, and it makes me feel floaty. It's very smooth. It's got a good smell to it, from what I can smell. But it gets through. Very, almost like the lightest of incense, like super light. Because I wouldn't be able to breathe incense. I try to breathe in incense, I'd be coughing like crazy. I'm like, oh, I smell the incense. So I got one that's supposed to smell like cannabis, and it does not smell like any kind of cannabis. It smells nice, but not like any kind of cannabis. It's an incense. Like, maybe I got it in here somewhere. Like magically, shit pops up for me. I'm like, I'll talk about it. Be like, oh, here it is. Dun, dun, dun. But no, it's got the aroma of like a really light, lovely incense that has so many different flavors there. I'm too high to be able to individually describe them, but I'm not too high to individually enjoy them. It's got a little piece of weed right there. That's like a bonus. I used to be, I was like, oh, I got weed in my mouth. But now it's like, get a little weed in your mouth. They're like, oh, that's nice. Let me just chew on that for a moment. Thank you again for joining me. I've gone over my personal time limit of 2 hours Friday night. Uh, there's so much that we talked about, and there's so much that was on the table. We talked about recreational cannabis, you know, pros, cons. I mean, there's different things that you could talk about and say, oh, I like it, I don't like it. I like it because it does open up more possibilities. I like it because it doesn't restrict us and it's another push and forward motion for cannabis. But I do believe this specific market requires another couple years in the medicinal field and a little more teaching, a little more education. That's just personally where I believe. Now, will it pass? There's a strong possibility. A lot of money has been pushed in its direction. So we'll see. We'll see. And that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to go either way because, look, Trumpy recently came out, and that can push a lot of new voters trying to help recreational get passed. So my initial stance of no, it's not going to get passed right now is getting challenged. It's getting challenged by an unknown variable. Trumpy was not about cannabis in any way, shape, or form. And now he comes out with it. So he could be the unknown variable. He could be the unknown variable that pushes the recreational vote to a yes. So that's where we stand. That's where we are. Hopefully, education keeps forefront. Hopefully, so many more people will look at cannabis and make tea, eat it raw. They'll juice it. They'll find ways to use the sugar leaves to make. We have more availability to different products eventually. There are so many different things coming. So either way, I'm always excited about it. I wish you all a powerful, magical adventure. That's what you should be looking for. You should be looking for that magical adventure that every day brings. Every day brings absolute magic. We just don't see it. We don't live right now. We live in the past. We live in the future. We're thinking so much about the two that we miss this, the now. And I'm sure you've heard speeches about living in the now and letting everything go to live in the, but it's true. It's so true. You've got to let go to be able to live right now and think right now and do right now and react right now. You need to be able to let go and breathe a little bit. Your soul needs to breathe. Your mind needs to breathe. This helps me. That's it. This helps. I can do it without. And I talk about that. I'm like, yeah, of course I can do it without, but it's a lot of work. And I'm sure I'm repeating myself and whatever. That's tonight's show. Tonight's show is Friday night show. Talked about recreational, talked about positive intention and cannabis as a superfood. Look, there's certain ways you can use it. You can juice it. You can eat it raw. I keep letting this go out. Well, that's a sign. That's a sign. If it's going out once again here, or once again, it's going out. As I say, okay, I'm done. Have a good night. Be beautiful. Be kind. Be amazing. Be creative and magnificent. Be everything that you are. Be everything you know you can be. Just be it authentically. Don't wear a mask. Just be you. Life is short. Life is short. Don't try to be anything but you. That's it. That's the simplicity of life. And that's what brings joy. That's what brings absolute amazingness. So happy Friday night. Happy weekend adventure. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for me. I'm excited for all of us. And that is the kind of energy and happiness that I'm pushing out for you. Take it how you will and enjoy it, spread it, be it. Okay, bye. I'll see you again, Smoke Sesh, on Sunday, where maybe I'm going to give you more information about what I'm doing with this new add-on venture just for Sundays. It's kind of exciting. If I can actually put it together right, it's going to be like the everything next to highly motivated. Okay, be amazing, be everything. Wait, there's a button. I can't see the button.